My name is Emma Carter, and when my parents won a $7 million lottery jackpot, they celebrated by giving me absolutely nothing. Not a dollar. Instead, they handed almost everything to my older brother, Jason. Their favorite child. The golden child. The son who could do no wrong. They bought him a mansion, luxury cars, and funded his dream business. Me. My father looked me in the eyes and said, "You're strong. You'll figure it out." I did figure it out. 5 years later, my parents were standing on my front porch in tears, begging for help. Because Jason had lost everything. And they had just discovered a secret that changed our family forever. Growing up in suburban Ohio, there were always 2 sets of rules. One for Jason, one for me. If Jason got a C in school, Mom would say, "He's trying his best." If I got an A-, Dad would ask, "What happened to the other points?" Jason crashed 3 cars before turning 22. My parents bought him a 4th. I worked part-time through college and graduated with student loans. Jason dropped out after 1 semester. My parents called him an entrepreneur. I called him unemployed. Nobody listened. Then everything changed. One Saturday evening, my parents called a family meeting. Thought someone was sick. Instead, they were smiling like they had won the Super Bowl. 'Cause they had. My father held up the lottery ticket. $7 million. Mom cried. Jason screamed. Champagne appeared from nowhere. For the first time in years, I thought maybe our family would finally be equal. I was wrong. A week later, my parents announced their plan. They paid off their house, set aside retirement money, and gave nearly $4 million to Jason. $4 million. I received $10,000. $10,000. Jason got enough money to change generations. I got enough money to replace my car. When I questioned it, Dad became angry. Jason has bigger dreams. Mom nodded. You've always been independent. Independent. The word parents use when they don't want to admit favoritism. That night, I cried harder than I had in years. Not because of the money. Because it confirmed something I'd secretly known my entire life. I would never be enough for them. So I left. I moved across the country to Texas. I worked 70-hour weeks. I took every opportunity one could find. I started as an administrative assistant, then operations coordinator, then manager, then director. Eventually I launched my own logistics company. The first 3 years were brutal. I slept in my office, missed holidays, lost relationships. But slowly things started working. Meanwhile, Jason lived like a celebrity. His social media was filled with sports cars, private parties, luxury vacations, and expensive watches. Every Christmas, my parents bragged about him. Jason's business is exploding. Jason is a visionary. Jason is a genius. I stopped correcting them, because none of it was true. The first crack appeared 4 years later. Jason called me unexpectedly. He sounded nervous. He wanted to borrow $50,000. I laughed. Not because it was funny. Because I remembered being told he was a financial genius. When I asked what happened, he hung up. A month later, I learned the truth. His business had never been profitable. Not once. The lottery money had simply hidden the losses. For years. Now everything was collapsing. The mansion had loans. The cars had loans. The lifestyle had loans. Jason wasn't rich. He was drowning. And nobody knew how bad things really were. Not even our parents. 6 months later, I got another call. This time it was Mom. She was crying. Jason had declared bankruptcy. The mansion was gone. The cars were repossessed. The business was finished. Their retirement savings had also vanished. Froze. What do you mean your retirement savings? Silence. Then Dad admitted something shocking. They had secretly invested most of their retirement money into Jason's company. Without telling anyone. Including financial advisors. Including me. Because they believed Jason was destined to become wealthy. Now everything was gone. Every penny. 2 weeks later, my parents arrived at my office. Unannounced. When they walked inside, they looked stunned. The company I had built was worth millions. The daughter they ignored had become successful. Without lottery money. Without help. Without favoritism. Mom burst into tears. Dad looked older than I remembered. For the first time in my life they seemed embarrassed. Then Dad said words I never expected to hear. We were wrong. Waited. For years I had imagined hearing that sentence. Now it felt strangely empty. Then came the twist I never saw coming. Dad handed me a folder. Inside were documents I had never seen before. Medical records. Hospital paperwork. DNA results. My hands started shaking. Because according to those papers, Dad wasn't my biological father. The room went silent. Mom began sobbing. 32 years earlier, before my parents got married, she had briefly dated another man. She became pregnant. Dad chose to stay. But after Jason was born, something changed. He never fully accepted me. He treated me differently for decades. Not consciously at first, but enough that everyone felt it, including me. The favoritism suddenly made sense. And somehow that hurt more than anything else. I sat there staring at the papers. 32 years of confusion suddenly had an explanation. I finally understood why I always felt like an outsider. Why every achievement was minimized. Why every mistake was magnified. Why Jason was always first. Dad was crying now. The strongest man I'd ever known was crying. He apologized. Again. And again. And again. Then he asked the question I knew was coming. Would I help them? I thought about every birthday. Every holiday. Every disappointment. Every time they chose Jason. Every moment they made me feel invisible. Then I thought about who I wanted to be. Not who they had been. Who I wanted to be. So I made a decision. Paid off their debts. Bought them a modest home. Set up retirement accounts. And helped them start over. Not because they deserved it. 'Cause I deserved peace. Today things are different. Jason works a regular job. For the first time in his life. My parents live comfortably. Not extravagantly. Comfortably. Dad still apologizes sometimes. Mom still cries when she remembers. And me. I finally stopped chasing their approval. 'Cause the truth is, the greatest revenge isn't watching people fail. It's succeeding without becoming like them. And sometimes the people who receive the least support become the strongest. Because they never had another choice. If you've ever been treated differently by your own family, comment below with the word strong. And remember, your value is not determined by who believed in you. It's determined by what you become when nobody does.